Last time on Fallen Marvel Reviews, our friends continued tackling their greatest challenge yet with this review. Will their minds be able to handle the mental onslaught? Or will they be crushed under the ever-mounting pressure? Find out in today's exciting conclusion of Fallen Marvel Reviews.
So Batman goes and steals the kryptonite from LexCorp. And you know this because Lex comes, sees like all this mess like in the lobby, in the laboratory or whatever, where the kryptonite was, and he sees a Batarang stuck where the kryptonite is, and they go back to Lex and he's smiling. And I'm thinking like this, so it's like, you mean to tell me Lex had this very perfect, elaborate plan? He just knew Batman was gonna come and steal the kryptonite to use on Superman, so apparently he knows that Bruce Wayne is Batman. So after that, it gets to a scene where they show Martha Kent being kidnapped by some random people. Wound up being the same people that were the mercenary people that took out the Warlords people who framed Superman, and they work for Lex. And they kidnapped Superman's mom. So Lex is seen going into the Kryptonian ship he got access to along with Zod's dead body. And he gets access to the computer in a Kryptonian ship, and he winds up learning all these things like very quick and conveniently, apparently. And it's some kind of incubation chamber that he's in. So he starts this sequence where it takes Kryptonian DNA, and then he cuts his hand and mixed the DNA with Zod's body, and his blood was seen as a foreign agent or whatever, so they had to start this whole chrysalis thing to where it was forbidden by Kryptonians a long time ago, and they just start this thing where it starts crystallizing Zod's body, and basically that's how Doomsday is created. Then they show Batman weaponizing the kryptonite. He's getting ready to have a fight with Superman with the mech suit. He turns on his back signal, waiting for Superman to come, but he doesn't. So another scene, Lex is luring Superman out by pushing Lois off a building. Superman comes. That's when Lex drops the bomb on Superman that he knows who his real identity is. And not only that he was the one that orchestrated the cancel checks with the messages on them to Bruce Wayne. He sent those to get this whole thing started. So he then orders Superman to go and kill Batman, or otherwise he will kill his mom. And that's how our fight between Batman and Superman begins. So here we are. We finally get the fight we've all been waiting for. All an epic 3 minutes, maybe 3.5. I will say this, the fight, for as long as we got it, did look pretty cool. It was showing Superman trying to show some restraint, and him kind of half-heartedly trying to convince Bruce that like he needed help and he's not his enemy, but like for some reason they just go ahead and just go through all out fight, and somewhere down the line Superman just stops explaining himself. And I don't know, like I'm thinking like, why don't you just say what you need to say? So some kryptonite is used. It gets to the point where Batman has this spear made of pure kryptonite, and he's getting ready to end Superman. Like he's got this man dead to rights. And Superman, with whatever remaining strength he has left, just utters, "Save Martha!" And then Bruce like reacts like, "How do you know that name? How do you know that name?" Batman literally has like a PTSD moment because he found out his mother's name was Martha too. And it took Lois conveniently showing up while Batman was asking this, like, it's the name of his mother. And he completely backs off after that, and the fight's over. Simply put, the fight ends because both of their mothers have the same name. The funny thing about that is, like, after the fight, they seemed like they were bros, like, really, really quickly. Okay, I'm sorry. If I'm Superman, I'm gonna come to the understanding that I need this guy's help to save my mom. But after the fact, you and me are gonna have words, because you just tried to kill me like 30 seconds ago. So they make the agreement that Batman was gonna go ahead and save Superman's mom. Superman was gonna confront Lex. And then Lois picks up the kryptonite spear and throws it in this conveniently placed body of water. I'm not even sure how body of water even got there. I don't know if they were near a river or a lake or something, but she tosses it in, which wound up being stupid because later on they needed the spear again. So I'll explain it once I get there. This movie is just so great because it's just so convenient. So Batman goes and saves Martha Kent in probably in the most fantastic fight choreography I've ever seen. Like, that fight was awesome. It looked like they pulled it directly out of Arkham Knight. It was that dope. I'm pretty sure a few people died in that fight scene too. Like, a couple of people didn't make it home. But overall, it was dope. He saves Martha Kent. So Superman confronts Lex. Doomsday wakes up. Him and Superman have this big fight, and trust me when I say Doomsday is doing everything. So Superman confronts Lex, and then Doomsday is waking up causing power surges. Wonder Woman randomly sees it on TV while she was getting on the plane. Then she decides to get off the plane, so obviously she's gonna come and join the fight soon. And then Superman and Doomsday start fighting. It's nuts all over the place. Just trust me when I say Doomsday is doing a lot of stuff. He's shooting laser beams out of his eyes. He's giving off these like electronic power waves and stuff. He's surging with electricity power. He's doing a lot of stuff. And it's like, when was Doomsday capable of all this? So him and Superman are fighting. Superman tries to put him in space. They go to a scene where the President of the United States orders a nuclear strike. It hits them. Doomsday falls back to Metropolis, and he starts evolving, growing spikes right then and there. And Superman is still floating in orbit, looking like a husk of a human being. So you know where they got that from unless you've been under a rock. So Batman makes it to Metropolis and sees Doomsday evolving. Then he tries to get his attention to lure him back to Gotham, where the kryptonite spear is. He almost gets killed in the process, and then they show Superman again. He's still floating up there, and then he gets hit with like some rays of sun, and he starts getting life back in his body again. He flies right back, and then Bruce almost bites the big one, and then Wonder Woman just randomly comes out of nowhere and blocks the beam with her gauntlets, and now she's in the fight too. So now we got the Holy Trinity, Batman, Wonder Woman, and Superman trying to come up with some kind of battle strategy to take Doomsday out. So it was alluded the fact that Doomsday has Kryptonian DNA, and Lois remembers that, okay, hey, this stuff can hit Kryptonians. Oh, I need that damn spear. So now she has to go back where she threw the spear in the water. So she goes down in there. The fight starts. Batman, he's basically making a strategic retreat because what is he going to do against somebody like that? So obviously Superman and Wonder Woman are going toe-to-toe with Doomsday. Everybody's going back and forth. Now I will say that Wonder Woman's design in this movie did look pretty cool. Thing is, I don't really have that much opinion about Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman because we didn't really see her a whole lot. But what I will give her credit for was one of the parts when Doomsday knocked her down, she got up and like started like and kind of smiled or whatever. I'm like, okay, so she's at least adding that dynamic to her that, like, you know, Wonder Woman likes to fight. So I give them props for that. But anyway, Lois is trying to get the kryptonite spear, and all the chaos is going up on top. You know, while she's in the water, a thing falls on the thing, so she almost drowns. Superman hears it. He has to go and help her out. So he pulls her out of the water. Then he's like, okay, he dives in to get this kryptonite spear. He almost drowns doing so, and Lois winds up pulling him out. So while Wonder Woman is pretty much holding Doomsday off and eventually gets the lasso around him to hold him still, Superman decides to take the kryptonite spear, which is also weakening him, to basically stab Doomsday with it. And he succeeds in doing so, but then Doomsday takes a spike and stabs Superman in the heart. And just, it kind of hurts him really bad, but it gives him enough strength to put the spear directly into Doomsday's heart. And then that's it. Then they both fall down dead. Quotations. So everybody's sad about Superman dying, and then they eventually show Lex in jail getting his hair cut. So I'm guessing this is their introduction to the bald Lex Luthor. And then like the cells open up, and then the lights kind of go out, and Batman shows up in the cell and kind of threatens Lex. And then Lex is kind of going on and on about, like, you know, we got his attention. He's coming. I'm like, he. They just have him say that with no explanation. And I pretty much already know who he's talking about. People, if you really don't know, he's talking about Darkseid. And I'm thinking to myself, how the hell does he know about Darkseid? How does this make sense? So anyway, they showed Superman's funeral and they kind of go through this whole thing about being sad, and you know, I guess it's fitting, but apparently now, since Superman sacrificed himself, now he died, he's being remembered as a true hero. And it shows Batman and Wonder Woman talking in plain clothes, and Bruce going on about how we need to get the other metahumans together, we need them together to fight. And she's asking, like, how do you know that they would need to fight? He's talking about just the feeling. Again, this goes back to me thinking that Bruce is a precog in this damn universe. And I guess they're essentially using Batman and Wonder Woman to be the catalyst to string all this stuff together. So he's basically going to be like the Nick Fury and Phil Coulson for the DC universe, I guess. And then they show Superman down in the casket like he's really dead. And right before the credits hit, they show the dirt like around the casket start floating up. So obviously Superman is not dead. So guys, that was Batman v Superman all summed up. Like, it had some good stuff in it, but it had a lot of problems trying to tell the story. Oh boy, that was a lot. I would have had a problem with this movie if they would have just called it Dawn of Justice, because let's face it, this movie was more so about Batman than it was Superman, and it didn't really focus on them as characters. It was just showing them just on opposite side of the spectrum. Lex trying to be the puppeteer, orchestrating this big ass, like, elaborate plan. And it was just all meant to set up the Justice League and the DC universe all in one movie. It was really trying to muddle like all these different DC storylines into one movie. It was Dark Knight Returns, the death and return of Superman, Injustice, and probably like a Justice League issue #1, and tried to wrap this all up in one movie. And to add to that, they essentially threw the Superboy story arc in there with the whole thing with Lex cutting his hand and using his DNA to create Doomsday. That was from Superboy's creation. Guys, again, I really tried my hardest to like this movie, but all I could say about Batman v Superman is, even with the good that they did do in it, overall, it was just a pretty ass mess. All I can say is that I hope that they turn this around with Suicide Squad, because I'm more pumped for that movie than I was for this one anyway, because a lot of things were really just telltale signs that this movie wasn't going to be solid. But for a lot of people, it is a solid movie. Maybe the spectacle was all they needed, but for me, I go into movies looking for stuff as just looking at it to see if it's a cohesive unit, if everything can work. And this one really didn't for me. So guys, that is it. Go ahead and post your comments down below. Let me know what you think. I look forward to conversating with you. If you haven't noticed by now, I'm really exhausted talking about this because it was a lot. So if you haven't already, go ahead, like, subscribe, all those wonderful things, and I will check you guys in the next video. Till then, you follow my advice to go nerd, but nerd responsibly. This is your boy Fallen Marvel, and I am Marv, the founding member of the Fallen Marvels. And we are out.